whānau, it's been a really good show tonight, actually, thanks to Barb. I wanted to show you one other thing, and this will, I think, well, we all know that I'll say far right, but I'll say right as well, hard right to hard right, are playing a silly culture wars game with, trans issues. And one of the biggest culture war games they play. And when we say culture wars, because there's a thing going around at the moment about some people going, oh, they're talking about imported culture wars. Well, whatever that is, what I'm saying is I'll give you a definition of what the culture war is about. The culture war is heavily focusing on issues that pretty much aren't legislatively necessary. They're not fixing the economy. They're not, they're side issues. If you don't like the term culture war, they're side issues. But one of those big, and they're like hot button topics for, QAnon followers. That's the kind of thing that I think of when I say culture war issues. Is trans women, and I say women purposefully, in bathrooms. I've got a clip to show you here. This lady is a Labour MP in the UK. There's someone else on the panel. I'm sure I can get a wide shot there. That guy there. He's a former Tory MP. So I know you all know this, but seriously, Sideshow is a good one too. So think Labour as in Labour, think Tory as in National, right? Easy way to do it. I mean, he's even wearing the same blue suit, the one that apparently you get given on the day one that you're a National MP, then you wear it for the next 3 to 9 years. We've said for a long time that the reason this is a culture war issue, as Sarah has said, a sideshow, is because when you start talking about, trans women in bathrooms, following that logical connection and completion, you then have to talk about trans men. And the idea being, if you're so sure that you want to put male at birth, who are trans women, into the male bathrooms, then obviously that means you need to put female at birth, trans men, into female bathrooms, which means you are basically, and look, I've just taken a snapshot. There you go. There are some trans men. So these men are now going into the women's bathrooms because following their logic, female at birth, trans men. Now, we've been asking this question for a couple of years now. I want to play you a clip, and it's not funny because the issue is horrific and serious, and it is just basically demeaning people. I want to play you a clip where this former Tory MP gets educated what a trans man is, and then finds out in real time how his concern around trans women in bathrooms is a sideshow and won't work. Have a look at this.
I think if you look at Bridget Phillipson's interview with Times Radio, sorry for mentioning a rival show, in
We're confident
June last year, quite right, where she was saying that under her preferred interpretation of the law, trans women should use women's bathrooms. That wasn't the position she was adopting during the election campaign. And the reality is Labour shadow ministers, as they then were repeatedly unable to give a straight answer to the question of both what is a woman.
Which is hilarious because he doesn't know what a trans man is, which he demonstrates very quickly. He doesn't know what a trans man is.
And whether trans women should be using women's only spaces. In that sense, I'm afraid, it just doesn't wash to say that there has been consistency because there hasn't been.
Right, but there has been. And what we have to do now is talk about the protections of trans women and trans men who are often left out of the debate. And actually, I think within this debate, I actually think we shouldn't have debates anymore without a trans man or a trans woman being included in the debate, because it's always talking about them without them. And in regards to bathrooms, which is always this sort of vexed issue, what really concerns me is that, I'm
already salivating, but you wait. You wait for the silence. It's just gold.
Trans women should, in my opinion, of course, still continue to use women's bathrooms.
But that's literally not what the law says.
But Hank, let me just
that's the whole point
talk
of this
through
ruling.
Safe spaces. There's not been a safe space is a safe space. I do not police people in public toilets. And I think that's where we're getting to as society, in policing what a woman looks like. You know, I have a butch lesbian friend who gets hounded out of women's toilets, and it is heartbreaking to the point where we have to escort her into the toilet because she's going to be hounded out, and we need to stop that. And what concerns me about the toilet debate is if trans men then have to use women's toilets, that's going to make women less safe, because how are you going to stop a man, a normal man, going into a woman's toilets and saying, I'm a trans man? And so I think we have to look at
I don't follow that logic.
Why? Why don't
because
you?
So just so you're clear, in case you missed it, he said, I don't follow that logic, right? So he doesn't understand.
I don't follow that logic.
Why? Why don't
because
you?
The point is that we're saying that people who are biologically men shouldn't be using women's toilets. That's the point of this ruling, among other things.
But a trans man is biologically a woman.
Someone who's transitioned from being a woman to a man is...
And so they would then have to use women's toilets.
I think this...
And that's the problem. That is the problem, and that's what concerns me.
I'll be honest, this is something that we can talk about an awful lot more and debate an awful lot more, and I thank both of you for doing it in a respectful way.
Yeah, it's a genuinely contentious one.
Yeah, let's go to the break now, and really interesting to get your views on this as well.
Did you see the look of the host? Watch this.
We can talk about an awful lot more and debate an awful lot more, and I thank both of you for doing it in a respectful way.
Yeah, it's a genuinely
Now, just so you know, so, I mean, look, I don't need to educate you guys, right? I'm preaching to the choir. If you're the person who is saying, and I'll just use the terms born at birth, that male at birth needs to be in the male bathroom, then that dictates female at birth needs to be in the female bathroom. We've been talking about it for 2 years. You just saw it break this guy's brain. I thought, how can I show you this one more time and make it be even sort of more appropriately accurate? And so I did a little bit of adding of sounds to it. So this is probably clearer for you.
But a trans man is biologically a woman.
Someone who's transitioned from being a woman to a man is...
And so they would then have to use women's toilets.
I think this...
It's that puff at the end. It's at the end. I know, you probably all knew crickets were coming. There was a lot of crickets too there because there was a lot of space for those crickets to happen.